as last Wednesday's violence was going on, in the immediate aftermath, a lot of regular Americans were left wondering, how could security have been so unprepared for all of this? And the initial response from those in charge was, well, we had no reason to believe that anything bad was gonna happen. Now, we're gonna give you a whole bunch of information about why that was crazy. Let's just admit, on its face, that's a crazy thing to say. I mean, Ida, like, for months they've been building up to this. It's been advertised, it has a viral hashtag. We knew the event was gonna happen. I don't think anyone gets to claim that they were surprised that a lot of people showed up or that it turned violent. We have been building towards this for at least 4 years now. And so I find those initial like claims to ignorance to be on their face invalid.
Oh, 100%. First of all, I'll go back before that. We've been waiting, we stay waiting for terroristic attacks since 9/11, right? Since 2001, we're always on guard about some terroristic act that brown people from the Middle East and ISIS and all of this. So we stay on guard. So you're supposed to be prepared for any type of anything to go down in any of these Capitol buildings, simply because of the hashtag never forget. So now you're gonna tell me that you didn't think this was gonna happen, but aren't you supposed to be prepared for anything to happen, being that we're constantly being reminded that the brown people are coming to get us? It's just, that's whack. Come on out here, get out of here with that. That's foolishness.
Yeah, they were better prepared for some people playing guitar a few months back than they were for this. But let's run through it. And the information we're gonna be providing for you is from none other than Kenneth Klippenstein himself, now The Intercept. So a reminder, the day after the Capitol unrest, the Defense Department insisted, quote, "We don't do domestic intelligence collection. We rely on Capitol Police and federal law enforcement to provide an assessment of the situation. And based on that assessment that they believe they had sufficient personnel and did not make a request." The Defense Department has been criticized for not sending the National Guard in time to prevent the attack. Then US Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund, who has since moved on, has said that he requested assistance 6 times from the National Guard, but each request was delayed or denied. Though Washington DC Mayor Muriel Bowser had requested and received 340 National Guard members, the troops were unarmed and tasked with managing traffic rather than conducting law enforcement functions. So there's a lot of people who are saying we had no reason to believe anything was gonna happen, or we did, but someone else wouldn't help us. There's a lot of that that's going on. Here's the issue. Ken Klippenstein brings receipts, and they've been leaked to him by people in the Department of Defense. The US military had its own intelligence that anticipated election-related unrest from individuals who viewed the presidential election as fraudulent, the same individuals who stormed the Capitol, according to an internal Defense Department intelligence assessment obtained exclusively by The Intercept. The report, an all hazards threat assessment produced by the US Navy, is dated back to late December. It's marked controlled unclassified information, designated FedCon, meaning that it's authorized for distribution to federal officials. And so it talks about threats relevant to a Navy installation. It also makes frequent reference to the Capitol specifically, as well as the National Capital Region, which encompasses Washington, DC. And I wanna read just a quick section from it. While the presidential election is finished, a large segment of the population views the results as invalid or fraudulent. Conspiracy theories amplified by social media echo chambers are likely to both increase the potential for civil disturbance activity and intensify the level of civil disturbance activity as well. It makes specific mention of QAnon, the pro-Trump conspiracy theory, whose adherents make up a large part of the Capitol mob, and which, let's remember, Trump said they're just people who love Trump and they love America and they love kids. They're good people. That's all I know. And they say that the resulting aftermath of the presidential election has contributed to an environment where civil disturbance activity is almost certain to continue to persist. There are multiple ways that it could play out, such as large-scale protests that escalate to riots, looting, or criminal activity. So I don't know how much more specific they could be. They knew that the Capitol could be a target, that the DC could be one of the areas, and why wouldn't they? It's about the presidential election, and they had been broadcasting for months that they were gonna try to challenge it on January 6th. We talked about it in show after show after show. And so now the cries of ignorance, it just seems like covering their ass.
Yeah, I just think it's very interesting. Just imagine if we were talking about Black Lives Matter, if there had been strings of and threads online about how Black Lives Matter was gonna show up at the Capitol. I mean, we saw white women losing their vision because of Black Lives Matter protests, because of the way that law enforcement treated them. They were willing to sacrifice the salt of the earth, the white woman, in order to shut Black Lives Matter down. So when we hear this, they were asking for it. The mayor asked for it. They kept ignoring her. They kept, The Wire. Here we are, an episode of The Wire. You're watching the bureaucracy, the way it all works, the way it trickles down, the fall guy, and all of that stuff happens. But at the end of the day, we know that white supremacy infiltrates everything, including law enforcement and the military. So why do we act like it doesn't? So why? Because this is an inside job. And those people who are very active in all of this, that believe that Donald Trump should be the president and don't want Joe Biden to be in office, that were also subscribing to this, all of this stuff that's been said and that has been put into action, we're participating in this. And if we act like we don't see that, then we definitely just expect the American people to be stupid and really believe that they are, because we all know that everybody knew that this was gonna happen. Those of us who are not getting the emails and are not tapped into The Wire. So you gonna tell me you don't know, but I do? Stop it. I mean, it's a constant insulting of the American people. And it just happens on a daily basis. Media is out of control. Our government is out of control. And now the people are out of control. And that's what happens when you just keep doing this to human beings and you think they're not gonna react.
Yeah, and look, I know some people are gonna be like, well, at some point we gotta move on. Biden's gotta do stuff. Yeah, Biden's gotta do tons of stuff. And we're gonna do that, but I think we can do both. I think we can press Biden. Hopefully he can do quite a bit, both in terms of legislation, nominations, but also executive orders. And at the same time, maybe we can find out what they actually knew, why the prep was so inadequate for the 6th, what some members of Congress might have done, why panic buttons were being ripped out. There's a lot of stuff that I think simultaneously we can be investigating.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.